Good morning, Captain Pigster. How is it going today? Is the ship still floating? Wonderful. It appears to be so. So, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Paradise Island. I nearly forgot. And, yeah, I've done a little bit of work. Not too much, though. I've got some chests out here that you saw last episode. And what I thought was maybe we could use this dock as our chest room. Because currently we've been using the trading area down in the bottom of the ship. And obviously that isn't really great. That's not a great place for it. On the dock is much more easily accessible. You guys said put a fence across the front to stop mobs from coming in. So I've put a gate so I can get back and forth. I've also put slabs on top of the logs here. This is where the torches used to be. So now we shouldn't get any zombies or creepers or anything come in here. So I'm hoping that this is going to be a safe place to store our stuff. I don't really see that many people with outside chest areas. Do you? No. There is one trade that has been changed that you guys said would be a good trade. It's this one's still the same with the dyes. We'll do that today. This one is a Silk Touch book for one block of gold. I think we've got enough for a block of gold. But thank you for that trade. And then that'll give us the ability to eventually be able to grab some mycelium. Okay? And, yeah, and the villager ones are all the same here. So, I've got iron in here that we smelted up last episode. I've got a little bit in there. So we've got a little bit over a stack. So, I don't really want red dye. I don't really need yellow dye. Therefore, I don't really need orange dye. However, there aren't any cactuses about that I've seen. Apparently, there's a cactus desert biome relatively close by. But I can't really find it. And you know what? I don't think we need the bone meal one because of skeletons. But you know what? For 2 iron, I am going to get it. So we'll have that. I could get pink with the bone meal. I can get the blues. If I grab this lapis, I know we could go and get lapis. But that'll give me the ability to get these ones. If I get this. Oh yeah, wait a minute. I don't want the lime green. I'm going to swap the lime green for the cactus green, because we can make the lime green with the bone meal one. And I'm going to grab the ink sac as well. We definitely don't need cocoa beans. That's the last one that we need. I don't think we'll need any other ones. We can get the purples and the pinks from the reds. We'll get some sheep. And yeah, I think it'd be nice to have some more bone meal ones, but I think we're going to have enough. Okay, let's not dump that on the inside here. Ooh. And wait a minute, do I have the gold? I do, I've got 15 gold from last episode. So if I make this into a block, I can then buy a Silk Touch book. We won't be doing it today, but at least now we'll be able to put this... How much would it cost to put it on a shovel? If I could put it on this brand new shovel... Oh, 6, yeah, I'll do that. I know diamond would be better, but I haven't got any diamonds yet. So, I've got some things that I need you guys to do in the comment section for this episode. Firstly, I need questions for a Q&A. I'm thinking about doing a Q&A next episode because I want to do some caving. We're very low on resources. I don't like doing like just a boring old normal cave episode. I liked it when we done it on Zonocraft, where we actually put in, you guys sent in questions and I could answer them during our episode. It was really, really fun. I really enjoyed it. I think you guys really enjoyed it as well. So that's the first thing that I want you to do in the comment section below. Now, I'm going to get complicated here because I'm going to ask you to do something else as well. You know how on the theme park world we have more than, or we have a question of the day. That's what it's called. We have a question of the day that we try and answer every episode, or as long as I can remember. I always try and ask one. I do sometimes forget though, so I apologize for that. I thought maybe we could start the whole question of the day thing on this series as well. I think it'd be really, really fun to do. So for this episode, I'm going to take a question of the day that was asked on a theme park episode where we usually do it. And then next episode we'll have one, we'll take one from here. So we'll be doing it on 2 series instead of 1. And the one that I'm going to do this episode was, I can't remember who it was sent in by, I do apologise, but it said, if you were robbed, what would you do? So, if someone broke into my house and robbed me, what would I do? Well, Guys, I've had it happen. It's happened to me. I have been robbed twice, in fact. Not just once, but my house was robbed twice. And there wasn't really much I could do about it. I was young at the time. I suppose I was the first time I think I was around 13, 12 or 13 years old, and then the second time I was 16, I think it was. So not old, but not young. Do you know what I mean? Whoops. And the first time was a very strange one. It was one of the strangest sort of robberies that I had ever heard of. And I was at school, obviously. We were all at school. And we came home from school, and my dog that we had at the time, I had a Dalmatian at the time, was laying outside. And which is very strange, because we'd just been picked up from school. You know, the dog would have been, "Hey sheep, is this your house?" The dog would have been shut in the house. The dog wouldn't have been out. So instantly, you know something isn't quite right. And jokingly, my mum said, "Oh, either I left the back door open or we've been robbed." And it was just a joke at the time. Anyway, so I went round to the back door because the front door was closed. I have two doors in my house, like just like most houses, I think, have two doors, a front door and a back door. So I went round to the back door to see if it had been left open, only to find that it had been kicked in. It had been completely kicked through. The lock to the door had been kicked so hard it actually ended up in the dog's water bowl across the other side of the room. And I came back out. Everyone was still getting out of the car. And I came out and I said, "Yeah," I said, "the door's been kicked in. We've been robbed." "Oh, I didn't want those. We've been robbed." "Oh, all right." So you sort of stay calm at that time. There's not really all that much panic. For some reason, you don't really know what's going on. Plus, I was very young, so I don't know. I didn't really have much to lose when I was 13. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, so we went inside looking to see what was missing. And a lot had been messed up. A lot of drawers had been gone through. We think we still don't know. The people were never caught, by the way. They were never caught. They're still at large. But the people that we think had done it, we think the phone rang because because the phone line, the internet line, because this is the time where it was dial-up, guys. There was no broadband at this point. You actually, if you wanted the internet, you had to unplug your phone and plug in the internet. I know it might sound very strange to some of you guys, but yes, that's how it used to be. So that the phone line had been pulled out, which obviously makes you a little bit suspicious. We think that the phone rang, they panicked, and they just ripped it out of the wall to try and shut it up. And so we were looking around. We couldn't really find anything missing at first. There was no money missing. Obviously, we don't keep money in the house. I don't think that many people do. I know there are people that do, mostly old people. I know that my girlfriend's nan, or great nan, who sadly passed away a couple of weeks ago. I went to the funeral, but she never used to like banks, so she used to keep all of her money in her house. Very, very nice lady, lovely lady, but she didn't trust banks. So if they get robbed, obviously it's a different matter. They lose a lot of money, but we don't keep money in the house. What was missing, though, was I had a remote-controlled toy car. Yeah, that's right. The people that robbed my house, it was a nice one. It wasn't like a cheap little remote-controlled car. It was actually a big truck. It was a big red truck, and it was quite expensive at the time. It had working indicators. You could turn the indicators on and off. You could turn the lights on and off. It had a radio built into it. I mean, at the time, it was a very cool toy. Now, I suspect you can get much cooler remote control vehicles than that. But at the time, that was very, very, like, top-of-the-line stuff. So that was missing. But they forgot to rob the controller for it, you know, the handset that you used to control it. So that was obviously useless for them. And they also forgot to rob the battery. What are you doing? What? What? The villager climbed out. He climbed up the ladder? No. Alright, well. You're staying there for the moment. How weird is that? I've never seen a villager climb a ladder before. I did not think that was possible. Oh well. How cool are these houses looking? I want to get some real house progress done today if I can. This one I want to do another L-shaped one if possible. So yeah, they forgot to take the control and they forgot to take the battery. So obviously they must have just dumped that somewhere because that was going to be useless to them. They weren't ever going to be able to use that. And then they also took, or they went upstairs and they robbed. There wasn't DVD players at this time, or there might have been, but they were very, very expensive. They were like how Blu-ray players were when they first came out. Now, you can pick a Blu-ray player up relatively cheap. They're not really that expensive, but when they first came out, they were expensive. And so were DVD players, so we only had something called VCR players, which were big videos. I'm sure you all know about them. I'm sure you've still got some videos laying about in your house somewhere, unless you're very young, and then you might not have heard of them. So they robbed the video player, and they forgot. Yes, I know this sounds silly, doesn't it? They weren't the smartest people. They forgot to rob the remote. So we don't really know what sort of person robbed us, because it was very weird. Because we thought, well, maybe it was kids. At first we thought, well, maybe they robbed us. You know, maybe it was like just some 16, 17-year-olds, young people that were just bored and just decided to rob us. We live in the middle of nowhere, so obviously it can be hard to be spotted if you're robbing someone's house when you live out in the middle of nowhere. No one's there to sort of inform anybody that the house is being burgled. That's too far out. I need to take that down by one. So yeah, we thought it was kids up until the point where they took some beer. Well, I suppose that could have been. They took 4 cold alcoholic beers. And that was all they took. Pretty much. As far as I can remember. Oh, no. In fact, they didn't. That wasn't all they took. They went up into the bedroom and we had some. They were pretty useless, really. But this is where it sort of got a little bit serious because they took machetes. We used to have some machetes. They weren't sharp, because here in the UK, you're not really allowed to have big knives like that, even if it's just in your house. You can have them as ornaments, but they can't be sharp. You can't have them sharpened, so they have to just be blunt, which sucks a little bit for a knife. But because they stole them, we then had to get... it wasn't FBI, but it was someone like the FBI had to come in, and they had to go through fingerprints, because they also took an air rifle, which is just like a lead pellet gun. It's not really a lethal weapon. I suppose it could kill you. That looks so cool. I suppose it could kill you if it hit you in the right place, I suppose. But I mean, it struggles to kill rats. It doesn't kill rats all that quickly, so I can't really see it doing that much harm. But obviously they have to do everything that they can. So it was the first time I was robbed, which worked out, thankfully, not to be all that serious. They were never caught. We got some shoe prints, some shoe footprints that was left behind, but that was it. They wore gloves. There wasn't any fingerprints, but they didn't really take anything of value. The other one wasn't that long ago. Well, I'm 22 years old now. I was 16 at the time, so what's that, like 6 years ago? 5 or 6 years ago, something like that. And this one was a little bit more serious, for us at least, or it impacted us a little bit more than last time. And this time, by now we had actually bought the field next to us, so obviously we've got our gardens that we just use. I'm going to block that up. I'm going to take these out. Obviously we've got 4 gardens. We've got a front left garden, a front right garden, a back left garden, a back right garden, and then we've got the field, and the field is 3 acres large, which is quite big for the UK. I know in America, oh, poop, I want stone there. I know in America you can get a lot bigger amounts of land, but in the UK that's quite big. That's a lot of land. You know, you could play you could play a full game of football on it, let's say, you know, at least probably 2 or 3, probably I don't know how big is a football pitch. I'm not quite sure. You could definitely put a full size football pitch on there, and half of it is woods. But anyway, so because we had the field, we now had tractors. We had a tractor, we had a trailer, we had something called a topper. And if you know anything about farming, you might know what a topper is. It's like a giant lawnmower, but obviously you wouldn't really want to go round a whole field on a little ride-on lawnmower. You would want something a little bit bigger. So that's what the topper done. And basically, hiccups. All in one night, someone came through, or a group of them. There had to be more than one of them. I didn't hear a thing, and you'll be surprised that I didn't hear a thing when I tell you the rest of it in a second, because they came in at the top of the field, which is the furthest point away from the house, and we have a big 5-post gate on there. What was I was going to do wool for the roof of these, so I can't really do much more on the roof of that. But yeah, we have a big 5-poster gate on the end, and they cut it in half. They cut the whole gate in half to get through. And then they drove, I'm not joking you, they drove an 18, or between, he's wandering off. It must have been between an 18 to a 24-wheeler lorry, like semi-truck, if you're American. Big truck through the gate, across the field. They didn't get stuck on the field, unfortunately. And they drove through. And on the back of the lorry was like a hi-hat. Is it called a hi-hat? Basically like a crane. A crane on the back of it. And they picked up the whole thing. They picked up the whole tractor. And they picked up the whole trailer. And they loaded it on. All silently. Can you believe it? Like, I still can't believe to this day how quietly, oh, I've got it on me, how quietly they picked it up. I mean, this is a big lorry that they drove through, and I didn't hear a thing. It was, I suppose, how far away? It's hard to describe how far away it is from, like, the house, like where they took it from. Oh, I didn't have a shovel. That's what I went back here for. The villager's coming back. And so yeah, we didn't hear nothing. And they took probably about £30,000 worth of equipment. Now, if you're American, that works out to be about $50,000 to $55,000 worth, which that's a lot of money. I don't want the Silk Touch one. I want just a normal one, please. Which is a lot of money, $55,000 or £30,000. That's a lot of money's worth of stuff that was robbed. And yeah, I didn't hear it. And what happened, or what we think they done in the end, was they actually went out. They drove out of our gate and they drove into the field next to us, because we actually found some ramps or something. We found a lot of metal from that was used in the robbery, and to try and, I think they must have craned it on, and they must have pushed something on, because the ramps hooked onto the back of the lorry, and I think something must have slipped, like the trailer must have slipped or something like that, because they panicked and they went into the get out of the way, Piggy. They went into the field next to us to sort of rejig everything and re-tie everything down. Maybe they just put the stuff on the back of the trailer, and then they drove into the field next to us to then tie it down and secure it so they could drive away with it. So I bet they didn't want to be in the field for too long before, you know, we heard something. So they didn't want to winch it, or like secure it. That's the word, secure it on. until they were far enough away that we definitely couldn't hear it. But yeah, that was a weird one. Again, those people were never caught either. We think we know who took it, but obviously without proof it doesn't really mean a lot. And yeah, so that's a bit of a shame. There's no real moral to the story of this episode. It was just a question that was asked, so I thought, well, I'll answer it. But yeah, I suppose it was very, very impacting to all of us, you know, having that much stuff stolen. It makes you definitely keep an eye open a lot more in future. I'm a lot more aware. Like, I'm up until I'm awake until about, I don't know, 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I usually stay up until, because I'm usually busy recording or editing or just chilling out watching YouTube and stuff like that. And yeah, the slightest noise, like if there's the slightest creak or bang outside, I always go and have a look to see what's going on. Not that I could probably do an awful lot if anything was going on, but at least I would know something was was going on at the time. But yeah, it's not very nice. It's not very nice at all. You know, I hope none of you have ever had to have to go through that, because it's not a very nice feeling having your things taken from you that you've worked hard to get in the first place. But anyway, guys, we are going to leave it there. I think we're probably going to do caving next episode. So remember, guys, put some questions down in the comment section below. Ow, I saw him, and I saw the arrow coming at me. Remember to put some questions in the comment section below, ready for next episode, where we can do a Q&A. And then, probably after the Q&A episode, we shall sort out some sort of sheep farm so we can get some multicolored roofs going on. That's going to look sick. How amazing is that looking, though? Like, with the fences now in the windows. Yeah, I love those colors. At night time, it looks fabulous. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this sort of rambling episode. I know a lot of you really enjoy it when I just chat and talk to you about something, about the real me. And yeah, let me know, okay? If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe. We shall see you in the next episode. Bye!